We're HHLoves Foundation, me and Renee. We've been working with Jake for the last 3 months. I don't know if any of you cats came to the other workshops we did. Okay, because we did a first MC workshop, actually with Punch, a couple months ago, February. We just did a DJ workshop last month with DJ John Quick. And tomorrow we're coming back and do a graffiti workshop up at the center on 125th. But what we decided to do today, in working with Will Tell and Tekserve, we decided to bring you guys down to one of the, most, I guess, filled shops with electronics, a lot of gadgets, a lot of devices. So you guys get a feel, if you're, going to get into the production thing or just the MC thing. We got today, brought in Siba X, legend from the group Brand Nubian, give you a little insight. So you guys are going to have this is like almost a one-on-one intimate situation. And we got a Punchline also, both from New York City, MCs in the game for many years. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into it. I just want to give you guys, I don't know how much of the MC history you guys are familiar with, but we're in New York City, so I don't think I really need to give you that much info about it, because you guys are familiar with it. But the one thing I wanted to play just, some very free hip-hop stuff to show you a little bit what influenced cats to grab the mic, okay? Because there was some stuff before going on from a German group like Kraftwerk would influence the production aspect of things. And you got, of course, James Brown, big time, one of the most ever sampled artists today, right? But then you have groups like The Last Poets. I'm not sure if you guys know The Last Poets. From the mid-'60s, late '60s. These were black military.
And also you got a pioneer who passed away last week. His name was Malcolm McLaren. You know what I mean? And he had a lot of influence on hip hop too, especially for my generation when he came out with Buffalo Guys. It was a song called Buffalo Girl, and it was out of the stretch of the regular music, and he was also, I just wanted to bring in, and he was also an influence.
Absolutely, Malcolm McLaren was the former manager of the old punk rock group, Sex Pistols, punk rock movement in the 80s in New York. Was very similar to what the hip hop was for white kids, what hip hop was for black kids. It's this rebel movement. So The Last Poets is mid-'60s, and they're from Harlem. They were hanging out in lofts, and they were going about the politics of it, right? Black Power, very engaged in following Malcolm X, following, that side of it. Not as much Martin Luther King, more of the Malcolm X side, Nation of Islam, but very, very militant.
So you say so this is where hip hop is originated earlier than from the 70s?
This is what the influences are.
Oh, this is the influence.
There's various. There's so many influences where hip hop is, it's a melting pot. So all these types of music, we put it together, we make beats, we rhyme. You talk about nursery rhymes, you're using your rhymes, all influence. We're gonna talk about all this, but just so you guys have, if you don't know about it, you get the info. Say what? Absolutely.
Also, in speaking about The Last Poets, so if you look at anybody that lived in Harlem, you gotta understand, The Last Poets, they was like my pops and the man. But understand what they was coming out of. They was coming out of a situation when Harlem was not the Harlem that it is now. Understand that they was coming out of an era that I'm glad y'all didn't never even get the chance to see this era. You can see maybe some of the remnants of it, of people on heroin and non-no, but at that time, Harlem was devastated by heroin. Understand, I got various family members that was devastated by that, and they came, a lot of what The Last Poets is talking about came directly from that era of, it was hopelessness amongst black people. That's why a lot of the stuff that they've been criticized for being harsh and this and that, but that was what was catching the people's ear. The people who they had to catch, you had to talk harsh to, because we was sinking as a people and as a thing, and a lot of the musical influence and the raps came out of that also.
DJ, please. This is called When the Revolution Comes.
When the revolution comes. When the revolution comes. When the revolution comes. When the revolution comes, some of us will probably catch it on TV with chicken hanging from our mouths. You'll know it's revolution because there won't be no commercial. When the revolution comes. When the revolution comes. When the revolution comes. Preacher pimps are gonna split the scene with the communion wine stuck in their back pockets. Faggots won't be so funny then.
Absolutely, that's what it is. But it's very rhythmic, right? You got a background, you got a percussive background accompanying. So that's mainly, they did a lot of records, a lot of different records, and that was mainly their concept, drums and vocals. If you guys look into this on Google, you're gonna discover some serious stuff, let me just tell you. Okay. They have this one tool called E Pluribus Unum. It talks about the dollar bill. It breaks down the dollar bill. And all the meanings. So if you're into the Illuminati conspiracy stuff, check that stuff out. It will, not only if you're not into that, but if you're into it and not into it, check it out for yourself.
What is it called?
E Pluribus Unum. But just a, it's on the dollar. It's on the dollar. And the next one I want to play for you is this cat named Pigmeat Marker. Right? Pigmeat Marker was a comedian, but he had this tune called Here Comes the Judge. And you go check it out.
Hold on real quick before we go on to that. The last part was also, y'all know the Biggie joint party and BS. I don't know about
That's right.
I don't know. That's your teacher or something?
That's my
Crazy. Either party. You know what I'm talking about. But that's where they got that from. That other was from the last poets. That's it. I don't know if you want him to play a little piece of that so you know what I'm talking about.
Listen.
That's deep.
That's crazy.
Now y'all know.
Yeah, that's official.
That's crazy.
Common brought them in on that track On the Corner.
What?
Yeah, the last poets featured on that.
Exactly. On the hook. Yeah, they talking on the hook.
So, and around what time? This was in the
65, 60s, late 60s, mid 60s, mid to late 60s. You from Harlem?
Yeah, I'm from Harlem.
Oh, y'all from Harlem?
Yeah.
This is your
You
home.
see the G.
There you go.